Mr. Whip, testing.
Mr. Massini, testing. We're about to get underway in the C race for this evening. We'll run you through the field as they get underway. Best of luck to everyone involved. Often racing in the C heat. I'll be joined tonight by Michael Massini on the commentary. He's a veteran of the post. From the top, we've got Pat Murray of Diamond Valley, Scott Benedict of Ringwood, James Maguire of Melbourne University, Seamus Dwyer of Yarra Rangers, Liam Werrett of Collingwood, Jack Hynam of Glen Huntly, James Anderson of Yarra Rangers, Benjamin Lucas of Doncaster Athletics, Callum Day from St Kevin's, Robert Wheats of Western Athletics, and Tom McFarlane leading them through at about 36 seconds there, right on about 74-second pace. Moving on, we have Darcy Williams of Wendouree, Michael Johnson of Richmond, Daniel Lawler of the Victorian Cross Country League, Glenn McMillan, Shepparton's finest, Joji Mori of Richmond Harriers, Luke Mickelvenner of Athletics Essendon, Pete Chappell from Old Zaverians, Dave Peroisian from Melbourne University, Tom McFarlane leading currently there, in second, of Glen Huntly, Jordan Mayston of Eureka Athletic Club, Damien Bruneau of Athletics Essendon, Grant Simpson of Ballerine Athletics, Dylan Pereira of Box Hill, Ashley Hoffman of All Athletics.
So going through that first lap in about 74 seconds, which would get the boys through the 5K in around 15 minutes and 50 seconds. Amongst the top seeded in this men's C race is Tom McFarlane, our current leader. Who else are we looking out for tonight with?
The likes of Darcy Williams, he's in there with a 15:40 seed time from Wendouree. Daniel Lawler, 15:55. Seamus Dwyer, the Yarra Rangers man, a 15:50 athlete. Otherwise, a few other individuals under the 16-minute mark, including Damien Bruneau and Ashley Hoffman, 15:42. Like the pairing there from Glen Huntly, McFarlane and Hynam making the early running of it. Looks like Hynam and McFarlane just sort of rolling turns here. Williams closely there in third from Wendouree. Spot on 15:40 pace currently, 3:08 through the first kilometre there, and Glen Huntly boys looking like they're in charge, Michael.
Look, absolutely, Sean, and Darcy Williams of Wendouree is right on their heels as well. These three boys are amongst the highest seeded athletes in this men's C race, so roundabout on pace of their season's best or entered times for this event. So we do expect a bunch of athletes as they have formed up the front of the field as we near 1,200 metres. Now, Michael, for those of our viewers not so familiar tonight with the 5K, it's a bit of theatre. It takes a while to build, doesn't it? We're in the early stages here. We've got everyone feeling out the race. What can we expect to see moving on here? Well, it does take a true distance running enthusiast to enjoy a 5K, 12.5 laps around the track. Having some interest in some athletes in the field does help, but we do look for the later stages for the athletes to sort themselves out and a few moves to be made. Often we don't look to the front of the pack for the excitement sometimes. We look about 5, 6, 7 deep for those cheeky moves, about a K to go. It's often easy to run the first 2/3 or 3/4 of your race to perfection, and then it's that last quarter or last third where we find out where you're going to run PBs or where the champions come through with.
Hynam there of Glen Huntly, metronomic thus far, ticking off 74s with his clubmate McFarlane just tucked in there behind. Looks like we've got an established order for the evening.
So still Jack Hynam and Tom McFarlane leading the way, all from Albury Athletics. Ashley Hoffman, one of the higher seed athletes, sitting nicely in 5th, 6th position there, just following the boys around. A couple of our Essendon Athletics runners as well in Luke McElvena and Damien Brunau are just enjoying the ride along the train there, just on the heels of the leading men. As they near 2 kilometres, 5 laps into this 5 or 12.5 lap race.
And McFarlane just moves up a little bit there, maybe helping out, maybe pre-agreed, maybe a little slump in the pace.
And 15.50 pace we go through. So 16.20 for the first 2 kilometres, 3.10 per kilometre if you're good at your maths, times 5, 15.50.
So they've slowed a tiny bit from that first K, just lost probably 3 to 4 seconds there on the 2nd kilometre. So be up to McFarlane here if he wants a quicker time. Looks like he's going to have to do some of the work himself, which he's shown no hesitation with, rolling straight back to the front.
Another athlete looking pretty in the pack, Daniel Lawler with the number 13 hip number on from the Victorian Cross Country League. He is sitting about 6th or 7th position and just enjoying his ride around a few laps at the Box Hill Athletics track as well, looking quite relaxed there. So maybe a slip of a second or so on that lap, probably more a 75-second 400 as opposed to the 74s. As we see, Tom McFarlane just put a couple of metres on his teammate Jack Hynam, trying to keep under that 15.50 5K pace where the pack thickens behind him as we move into, well, just past 2.5 Ks, past the halfway mark in this 5 kilometre event.
McFarlane, an experienced racer, he'll know he needs to kick things along here a bit if he's after a time there. Darcy Williams moves himself up in a second, the youngster from Wendouree, showing no fear at the front. Looks to close that gap, just get that elastic band back in contact. And he looks like he's done it there. Encouraging signs from the youngster.
Ashley Hoffman as well in 3rd position, come from Albury, running for the Albury Athletics Club, making the trip down to Box Hill, well and truly worth it. He doesn't want to give any distance away to his Ballarat and Glen Huntly counterparts in front as they near 2,800 metres.
And Pete Chappell there from Old Zavarians, just moving up past a couple in the pack. Doesn't want to be left behind. Looks like he might go past one more here. Oh, there he goes.
Well done, good predicting.
We're starting to see that gap now. Just that top 3 starting to form of McFarlane, Williams and Hoffman.
And if you're looking for a consistent pace, they would be looking to come through this first 3 kilometres in 9.5 minutes, keep that 15.50 5K alive, and they do exactly that, 9.30, 9.31, 32, 33 as they go past the first 3 Ks. Glenn McMillan from Shepparton Athletics passing the line now, as does Caden Murray of Diamond Valley.
Just textbook from McFarlane. He's probably going to need a little bit of help here if anyone wants a bit more. He has led large portions of this race. We'll wait to see. Oh, little look over the shoulder there, just wondering if he's going to lend a hand. The group 3 becomes 4 with Hynam doing everything he can there to stay on.
Peter Chappell of Old Zavarians in the black and red colours joining the boys is sat in 7th position most of this race, but now he's up on the heels of Ashley Hoffman and working to stay there. Heinem doing quite well to make that front 5. The next pack we have, I believe it's McElvena of Essendon, Seamus Dwyer from Yarra Rangers, from Victorian Cross Country League, Daniel Lawler. Boys come up to 3,600 metres.
Still McFarlane. I think Heinem's gone to move back around there, running a little bit wide. He's got a second wind of sorts after some early leading. McFarlane with another look over the shoulder there. No signs of change in the lead. Remains metronomic in pace, and Heinem, not to be disposed of yet, goes round Chapel there. He is on this evening.
As the boys near the 4 kilometre mark of this 5 kilometre race, 2.5 and a bit laps to go. They'll be wanting to hit around 12 minutes and 40 seconds to stay on that 15:50 pace if they are keeping it consistent, and they've slipped just a couple of seconds, but it is a championship race after all, and we can see significant time picked up in the final couple of laps. Tom McFarlane is looking quite comfortable out the front, but probably wishes someone else would help him with the pacing, as we see Ashley Hoffman of Albury quite close on his heels, as is the Wendouree athlete in Darcy Williams. From Old Zavarians, Peter Chappell.
Peter Chappell just asking the question there. Moves a little bit wide, wants to give himself a little bit of space as we come into this final kilometre. McFarlane's been an absolute metronome here. Hoffman, a brief check of the watch through the finish line, possibly considering a finish time already.
Damien Bruno from Athletics Essendon is just looking at the back of Heinem, wondering if he can pick up another position in this last couple of laps. And on the heels of him, Seamus Dwyer of Yarra Rangers, just following the lead of Damien Bruno.
And as you say at Massini, we're starting to get some separation on the back straight there. Chappell just falling off 1 or 2 steps, working to get back into touch. And there we have it. That 4 regains its formation again. And we still have McFarlane at the front.
If you didn't know him better, you'd think they'd all train together, apart from the Glen Huntley, Albury and Ballarat singlets at different ends of Victoria. But it is looking like a training drill here. Tom McFarlane doing a lot of the work out the front, and Ashley Hoffman almost going into lane 2. Sitting on Tom McFarlane's shoulder, almost just waiting for his time to pass him as they near the last 400 metres into this race whip.
McFarlane, historically more of an 8:15 man. Did his early trade at Haileybury in the APS system. Will we see a kick here? Oh, Hoffman has just opened a can here.
Turns out he was
McFarlane
waiting.
Not happy, throws the hand up. Not sure about that, Massini. This is big.
It is championship racing whip. They enter with a seed time, but the seed times are not shown.
McFarlane has just pulled away here. He is gone. He has absolutely rocketed away.
That's Hoffman that's rocketed away. McFarlane holding steady in second position, as is Darcy Williams in third position, the athlete from Wendouree. Peter Chappell from Old Zavarian still holding his 4th place, as the rest of the field flood in behind them.
Hoffman with a personal best of 15:42. He's going to need to close in about 33 seconds for the last 200 here. This will be tight. Watch the clock, folks. Just a reminder for everyone at home, it's a manually started clock, so don't take it as gospel. But Hoffman comes striding down the finishing straight here. The pride of Albury. Looking for 15:42. I think he might have a PB here.
And 15:40 from the manual clock whip as Aubrey watches on the live stream at home, I bet. Tom McFarlane, second place in 46.
And 47 there for Darcy Williams. And the lap scorers are excited. Couple of PBs to start the night.
Daniel Lawler, very quick finish there, and his PB was 15:55, which we're sure he got underneath.
Geordie Maston just coming in on 16 minutes there.
Grant Simpson of Ballerine finishing strongly. Also Simpson as well. Well done, Grant. Joji Mori coming in now for a strong finish, the athlete from Richmond. Caden Murray of Diamond Valley, David Persian from Melbourne University, Luke McElvena of Essendon, Callum Day of St Kevin's, Dylan Pereira of Box Hill, Christian Wheats, Western Athletics.
We've just been corrected by one of our finishers there. It's Robert Waits of Western Athletics. Michael Messini, a Western Athletics member himself, just getting the faces mixed up there.
So next up on the track, event 2 of 7 of tonight's 5,000 metre championships, we have the men's B race, and we are almost in the hands of the starter. We will call all starting athletes as the race begins in a few minutes' time. Athletes in this men's B race here at Box Hill. In Station 1, William Collins of Knox. 2, Jack Maxwell from New South Wales. And Michael Kernahan of Mentone. 4, Jonathan Gusman of St Kevin's. 5, Will Lewis, also of St Kevin's. 6, Oscar Robinson, Victorian Cross Country League. 7, Sam Williams, Melbourne Uni. 8, Peter Green of Box Hill. 9, Ben Covington of Tasmania. 10, Tim Bryant of Collingwood. 11, Matt Gunther of Deakin. 12, Nathan Pearce of Western Athletics. 13, Jesse Dunsmore of Frankston. 14, Sam Dunnett of Wellington. 15, Kieran Hesse of Box Hill. 16, Sam Bunnage of Mentone. 17, Dion Finicario, Mentone. 18, Bucheb Chenalfi of Essendon. 19, Sam Quirk of St Stephen's. 20, Caleb Sin of Doncaster. 21, James Laven of Yarra Rangers. 22, Samuel Foster of Melbourne University. And in Station 23, to round out the field, Dane Verway of Frankston Athletics. Sean.
68 seconds through the first lap there, so a firm pace. We saw this last week in a milers heat. Michael Kernahan of Mentone doesn't mind leading. He's usually a pretty firm setter of the pace. He's followed there by Will Lewis and Jesse Dunsmore of Frankston. Real diversity of athletes in a variety of heats. Kernahan, more of a 5K, 10K guy. Lewis, 1500 man by trade. And Williams, usually a steeplechaser and half marathoner. And they've made their intentions clear early on here. Now, if we had 68s throughout the night, we'd have 14.10. So I'm not sure if we'll hold this. We'll slip just a smidge. 70's a little bit more reasonable. So we'd be looking more at 14.25 there, which, whilst a little ambitious, I think this probably front pack of 5 would be more than capable of. We'll just look to see how much that winter has sorted out Will Lewis.
Just doing some running maths. Trackside, 12.5 second laps. So 2:55. What's that? We'll go 3 times 5, 15 minutes.
14.35 pace.
14:35 pace. 70-second laps.
Kernahan continues to lead with Chef Nui of Athletics Essendon in behind, and a little gap back to Will Lewis, but probably a bit early to get too concerned about that. Williams sitting in there behind, and I believe that's Laven of Yarra Rangers with Marantelli of the Victorian Cross Country League. Scratch that. Oscar Robinson of the Victorian Cross Country League does look frighteningly similar to Michael Marantelli from 200 metres away.
And there is a bit of gap between packs, and leading the second train is Jonathan Gutman of St Kevin's Athletics Club. Nathan Pearce of Western Athletics leading the train behind the gap of the first. We saw Michael Kernahan in the 3,000 metres last week, lead for the majority of the race. He knows how to set the pace, and if you're not with him, you are going to be left behind. So he does just this tonight at Box Hill.
Whilst we've got a gap there between those two lead packs, it's not one that's really grown. Lewis seems like he's pretty comfortable there. He's opted for the splats, not spikes, not flats. There's a real variety of footwear in this one, Massini. Hot topic lately.
The splats, you made that up tonight. If so, I like it. How about the waffles? They will go back in Little Athletics days.
No, we all had our glory days back then, but back to the action on the track, and maybe I spoke too soon. The gap has grown just a touch there to Lewis.
So hold that pace around 14 and a half minutes. So they have been setting early. They were looking for a 5:50 dead where they tick through in 5:55, and the bulk of the pack coming through now in 6 minutes. 15-minute pace for the 5 kilometre journey. As we see Kernahan followed by Chanelfi, Dunsmore, Lewis, Laven, Robinson, Dane Verway has got up on the heels of Robinson into that second pack that is now forming.
15 minutes, one of the big barriers for your season club runner. So there'll be a number of individuals in this one looking for that magical 14-something for 5K.
And we see Dunsmore just getting up on the heels of Chanelfi there, closing the gap and forming that split pack out the front back into one. So it is still the formation of Kernahan, Chanelfi, Dunsmore, Laven.
About a 73 there from Kernahan, which has seen that group come back together just a little bit. So I think we're probably going to hover around that 71, 72 mark probably until the last 4 laps or so. Quick check of the watch there from Kernahan. We'll wait to see if anyone lends a hand here in this race, unlike our previous 5,000 metre race.
And we said earlier in the night, always look to the middle and the back of the pack for some interesting changes as we see Nathan Pearce passing Dane Verway and making his way to the back of that leading pack, trying to close the gap in the 2 trains as we see all runners spreading evenly across the back straight now. Nearing 2,800 metres. See what their 3 is for a proper indication of overall pace. Will Lewis and Oscar Robinson just losing touch with the front pack of Kernahan, Chanelfi, Dunsmore and Laven as Dunsmore moves into second position and Laven follows just behind Michael Kernahan, ticking over those Ks.
Kernahan's obviously seen he's slipped a little off pace there, and he's pushed the gap right back out. So Kernahan on one mission here, it looks like it'll be up to Jesse Dunsmore and James Laven, our Rangers, to see if they can drag him back in as we come up to 5 laps The elusive 2 kilometres remaining, and he's 9:01 through 3K, so just on 15-minute pace.
Boys are quite spread out now as they round the discus cage around the back of this Box Hill track. Kernahan closely followed by Dunsmore and Laven. Bit of a gap to Robinson, Will Lewis holding strong, and Nathan Pearce of Western Athletics leading that next little pack through to try and bridge that gap. Matt Gunther of Deakin also doing a bit of work with Nathan Pearce in lane 2, moving into lane 1 just ahead of Pearce. Trying to bridge that gap into Lewis. Jonathan Guzman also there, Sam Quirk, Dion Finicario, and Will Collins.
A nod to one of our interstate visitors, Ben Covington there from Sandy Bay down in Tassie. We've also got Jack Maxwell from New South Wales racing this evening. Changes at the front there. Dunsmore has taken over and decided he's going to push things along himself. Laven keeping a close eye on Kernahan, and I think this might be what Michael Kernahan's been looking for this evening. Just trying to drag things along.
Sort of slipped into the slipstream of the runner who passed him for a little while, had a bit of a break, and then had a bit of a second win. So we'll see what he does in this situation tonight as Dunsmore leads the pack through. Dunsmore into Kernahan and Laven. A bit of a gap to Robinson. It's been no man's land, unfortunately, for a little bit in this race, as Will Lewis closely follows.
Dunsmore looks to push the back open just a little bit more as we come through here in 12:05, 12:04. So probably just a 3:03 there since our last case. We'll need a big last, probably 800 metres here. And Kernahan, just as Michael Massini predicted beforehand, he's jumped around again. Laven in tow. There's a bit of life in this front pack just yet, Michael.
But check out the second pack as well. Oscar Robinson leading him out. He'd be stuck in the middle for a little while, having to do a lot of work. And Will Lewis is now moving up on his shoulder to get in a better position leading into these last couple of laps.
Lewis, a 3:48 man over 1500. You'd think if he's got anything like a sniff with a lap to go, he'll be right there. And as I say it, moves back around.
Gunther and Covington also just behind Robinson and Lewis there, having a bit of a rest. Johnny Guzman leads the next little pack through of Sam Quirk and Dion Finicario into Nathan Pearce of Western Athletics.
Things bunch again as we go through with 700 metres remaining. We've got Kernahan closely followed by Laven, and Dunsmore not packing it in just yet. And I think you called it earlier, Michael. Gunther of Deakin in the bright pink next percents. He's on.
Would you call them splats as well?
How many spikes in the bottom, you goose?
No spikes there.
Our interstate there from Sandy Bay. Covington goes with Gunther. Got races within races here, Michael.
3 races within a race. We have the leaders in Kernahan, Laven and Dunsmore. But Gunther, he is looking to bridge that gap. Could be get a sneaky win in this last lap. Let's see how this plays out.
Gunther, a man on a mission here. Gunther in 54. Does someone have a 65 in their legs for that elusive sub-15 clocking? I think so.
Finicario, the marathon man, looking very strong as he makes his way through with a lap to go, closely followed by Sam Quirk and Johnny Guzman aiming for close to that 15-minute mark.
And Kernahan's gone again, followed by Dunsmore, but look at the gap on the back straight.
The second wind whip, I said he was just having a bit of a rest.
Kernahan has gone.
Kernahan
look at this.
into
200 to
Dunsmore.
go, 14.26. I get the sneaking suspicion he is going to obliterate 15 minutes.
But, mate, check out Covington going from 4th to 3rd and into 2nd. He is hot on Kernahan's heels.
Hasn't jumped on Jetstar to get here for nothing. Covington's going to go all the way. They pull into lane 16. Here we go. Covington. Oh, he looks good. He looks great. Covington is going to smash that 15.15 PB. 14.55, and we get 3, maybe 4 under 15 minutes.
Into Kernahan, Dunsmore, Laven, and Gunther. Lewis, Robinson, Finicario, very strong run, followed by Sam Quirk.
Vic 5K, a real product for all. And Pearce and Gusman battling out to the finish line.
And we talked about races within races with Pearce.
They're everywhere.
Just edges out Johnny Guzman. He will not like that.
Under 18 All Schools 3K champ from Wellington there. Mr. Dunnett, 15.20 odd.
Jack Maxwell crosses the line just behind Dunnett, one of our early leaders in Shanalfi. Peter Green of Box Hill. Samuel Foster, Melbourne Uni.
And Will Collins from Knox Athletics Club.
And Sam Bunnage in the mix from Mentone as well, as we see Tim Bryant from Collingwood cross the line.
Oh, and that was just the B heat, Michael. We've got so much more to get tonight.
Blood is pumping. If you're not telling everyone that you know to watch from home, tell them now. Log on, send the link. Races within races. That's what you got to appreciate in these distance events.
Oh, to borrow an analogy, if you don't like that, you don't like 5,000 metre running.
And a lot of people do. That's okay, we do.
Chuckles around there. Easy last night.
Next race on the track will be the Victorian Championship for the women's 5,000 metres. And we will once again read out the athletes' names as the race gets underway. Girls do round the bend in this first lap of 12.5 of the women's 5,000 metre state championships. Station 1, we have McKenna Myler coming all the way from the United States of America, one to watch. Lane 2, Amelia Eagling Every from Essendon. Lane 3, Isabel Girardi of Deakin. Lane 4, Elisa Beersey, Williamstown. 5, Bridget Humphrey of Deakin. 6, Kiara Boyd Squires Long of Melbourne Uni. 7, Jessica Jason of Deakin. 8, Casey Wood from South Australia. 9, Amy Robinson of Collingwood. 10, Stella Radford of Melbourne Uni. 11, Neve Tabit from Coburg. 12, Gemma Maney of Frankston. 13, Stephanie Condagonis of Keilor St Bernard's. 14, Kaya Fry of Frankston. 15, Eleanor Benson of Melbourne Uni. 16, Katie Gamble of Frankston. 17, Juliet McVerdy of Glen Hudley. 18, Jessie Main at Diamond Valley. 19, Lauren Cockrell, South Melbourne. 20, Nicolette Lesberg of Mentone. 21, Tamara Quinn of Collingwood. Whitney Sharp is in station 22 to round out the field, the athlete from St Stephen's. As the race already splits into two, Sean Whipp.
I think in our first championship race of the evening, we're going to see this one have a few different players in it, Michael. We've of course got Whitney Sharp, fresh off a debut European season in the now, I guess, infamous St Stephen's kit. Looks like Gamble and Myler of the USA are doing the early work there.
I guess Myler is the unknown, the athlete in the pink, fluoro pink jersey with the number 1 on her hip. We'll be keen to watch how she goes as well. Casey Wood of South Australia making this trip interstate. She'll be one to watch. She has number 8 on her hip.
.236 there for 800, and Michael, you're much better than math than I am, so I think we're just under 1640 pace at the moment, which seems fair. We've got Whitney Sharp's around 1554, the lone competitor sub 16 in the race, but a fair few times around that sort of 1616 to 1610, 1630 odd sort of time. So I think we'll see it hover around there to start with.
Absolutely, and thanks for your compliment, Whip, but I'm not good at maths. I'm good at running maths. Pretty easy to work out as we see the race split into 3 packs. Few races within races here. It's so much easier to run these 12.5 laps when you're around a few people of your ability, especially early on. And these athletes in this A race have a few races under their belts, doing it smart early on.
Once again, a real mix in that front pack. Everything from steeplechase with Stella Radford, a half marathoner in Kaya Fry. More established 5,000 metre runners there in, I guess, Wood and Gamble, but it looks like we've got a gap already here as we come up to 1,200 metres in about 3:54. Wood starting to stretch things out early here. Looks like she's not come here for a slow time, which is excellent news for everyone else in the race. it remains Wood, Myler, Sharp and Gamble. And it looks like Myler just running up on the shoulder there a bit and Sharp doing the same. So you have these little fluctuations in pace throughout the race and often with the proximity these athletes have in the front pack can get pretty close.
And I reckon the pace has picked up just a little bit amongst those first four. We see them come through in well under 80-second laps, and the stringing out of the athletes behind them is probably only due to the top four picking up the pace as they go through. As we look back past that start line mark at the moment, the runners towards the back of the field are still staying strong together. So it is another race within a race towards the back of the field, and smart racers might come through as the race progresses.
We'll see 2,000 metres as we come over to the opposite side of the track here. Still a strong pack of four at the front with Sharp just moving up there. Sharp, a really well-known 1,500 metre runner. That's a sort of 600 to go. Coming through 2K there, looks like things have picked up a little bit. Looks like we're hovering around that 16-15 mark with Wood continuing to do the bulk of the work. Still just those small movements back and forth in that front pack. Everyone just figuring out where they are, what they're most comfortable at. Fry sitting really solid there about 10 metres off the back. We go back to Radford and another one of our Victorian cross-country representatives in Quinn from Collingwood. And Gemma Maney, another Victorian representative at National Cross Country.
Juliet McBurney of Glenn Huntley and Lauren Cockrell following Maney, keeping the pace steady. Neve Tabet just coming through the line there, as does Alyssa Beersey of Williamstown, and then the flood of athletes in this train.
Things bunching again in the lead group there. Sharp moving up onto the shoulder in earnest on Wood there, and Gamble as well, just starting to come around the outside a little bit there. Gamble a personal best of 16.16, so spot on PB pace here for Gamble. Be interesting to see if she tries to move any further up. Wood a 16.10 runner, so we're all sort of hovering spot on that PB pace. As I say it, Sharp moves up to the front, looking to push things on just a touch.
The girls almost playing a bit of Indian file here as they progress through the field, looking comfortable as a tight-knit pack. Sharing the lead around, that's so nice of them.
Yeah, look, I couldn't say the same. In Covington in our B race, I think Myler might have had a slightly more expensive flight from the US. Don't think Jetstar are flying from LA to Melbourne just yet. As Sharp starts to open up a little bit of a gap. Myler paying close attention, moves up on the inside just a fraction as Gamble looks to move around the outside of the shoulder of Wood.
Good spot, Nikki.
As we approach 3,000 metres, this is really that part of the race where you want to feel good, you don't want to feel too good. There needs to be a checking of effort here, Massini.
Absolutely. If you've, I was about to say spend all your cookies, eaten all your cookies, spend all your dollars, 3K into a 5K race, then you're going to be in a bit of trouble. So these girls would be hoping to feel relatively good with 5 laps to go.
Myler moving back into second there again.
So probably, what was that, threw in about 9:48, 9:49, so probably around that 16:20, 5 kilometre pace, which would be around season's best or PBs for a bunch of those athletes in that race or in that top field. Radford crosses through the line now with 5 laps to go.
Sharp looking to pick things up just a little notch again as the gap starts to open between Myler and Gamble of Frankston.
So 5 laps to go as the train at the back of the field progresses through. These athletes are still trailing one another very closely, making it easier for them to get through these 12.5 laps and save a bit of energy for the end. So 5 laps to go for all athletes now as the front pack nears just 1,600 metres to go. Just a miler for the person coming in second, miler.
Very good, Michael. We'll look to see what the rest of the field does here. Are they at their limit, or will we have a few people try and take it from a bit further out? We know if it comes down to the last lap or two, I think Sharp will be too good. Sharp and Myler continue to play a game on the back straight there. The gap starts to open, the gap comes back together again. Myler is just not letting Sharp go as that little bit of room starts to extend to Gamble. Wood just 5 to 10 paces off the back there.
So as the all athletes, 4 laps to go now, and the leaders are about to hit 1,200 metres to go. Sharp into Myler, Gamble about a 5-10 metre gap, and Wood about 20 odd metres behind. It's a race of 4 towards the front of the field with Sharp, Myler closely on her heels. 3 laps to go for the leaders.
Possibly an early season test of form here for Sharp. Probably just going to try and kick this one away. But for Myler, if she hangs in here, she's still under PB pace, or PR pace, should I say. And if she can, just as I say that, Sharp puts in another move there. Sharp moving away sharply now.
Good play on words, Whip. Subtle, I like it. And coming through with 1 kilometre to go, Whitney Sharp hitting that mark in 13 minutes, so 16:15 pace for the 5K if she keeps up that consistency. Sharp into Myler, Gamble. Not letting the girls get away too easily, still keeping the similar gap to what it was about a lap ago. Wood in 4th position still, and Kaya Fry. 1 kilometre to go.
Sharp stamping her authority on this one. I think she's going to get the best of the pack here with 2 to go. Myler working hard, still on PB pace there as Gamble starts to bring things back in just a touch. Positions remaining unchanged there with Wood coming through the line and now Fry of Frankston. Quinn follows Fry. And a little bit further back down the straight, we have Stella Radford of Melbourne University.
As all athletes on the track merge together in one, we'll try and keep an eye on the leaders as they do come into 600 metres to go. Now coming out into lane 2, about 500 metres left. Whitney Sharp, bit of a gap to Myler and Gamble.
Gamble closing here, looking to move around.
So 1 lap to go for Sharp, 2 laps to go for the bulk of the athletes towards the back of the field, passing that finish line now.
Sharp likely to test how quick she can close here, Michael. Keep an eye on the clock, everyone. Gamble comes through the line, as does Myla. Myla on for a big personal best here if she can keep things going.
As is Gamble as well, coming with personal best of around 16-17 and is on track to run close to that if she holds strong for this last 400 metres. As Wood with the number 8, Hip, coming from South Australia, crosses the finish line. 1 lap to go for Wood. Kaya Fry looking pretty strong with 400 metres left.
Quinn will collect the bell here with a raucous support crew there. Good to see the family out support.
A few weeks ago. You ran pretty well.
So we do see Whitney Sharp coming towards the finish line.
Your Victorian champion in a time just over 16 minutes. Put your hands together for Whitney Sharp.
Gold medalist
16.06 for the win.
Katie Gamble will come across to collect the silver
Gamble
medal
will be
in the
close
Victorian
here.
Championships.
Just under her personal best, I reckon. 16.14. Unofficial. Myla, the trip's been worth it. 16.21 we'll call it. A sizable personal best.
So Myla takes 3rd position. We're still waiting for our 3rd Victorian in the championships as Wood crosses the finish line in 4th position in this race, the athlete from South Australia. And 3rd out of the Victorians, Kaya Fry, the athlete from Frankston, crossing the finish line in around 16.45.
To take bronze in the Victorian Championship. In 4th place, we'll have Tamara Quinn of Collingwood.
Stella Radford from Melbourne Uni entering the home straight now.
Good motivation the day before, yeah.
Radford comes through in a time just on 17.15 there.
We ask athletes to merge into lanes 3 and out for the finish. As we see Lauren Cockrell charge towards the finish line. The athlete from South Melbourne, Eleanor Benson of Melbourne University.
Humphrey there from Geelong. As we have Maney, Main, Boys Squires Long, Tabbitt, Jason and McBurney coming in a big pack.
And it was Nicolette Ledberg before the bunch of them from Mentone. Amelia Eagling Every from Essendon, Steph Condogonis from Keeler St Bernard's.
You go, girls! Bring it home!
Amy Robinson of Collingwood charging towards the finish line now. And I see Alyssa Beersley of Williamstown entering the final straight in this 5,000 metres Women's Victorian Championship.
For our medalists there in the Women's Victorian 5,000 metre championship, we'll look to do the medal presentation just after the Men's 5,000 metre championship. So do stick around. You do receive a medal if you finish in the top 3.
That was a shit move.
If we could have 2 more lap scorers down at the finish line, that'd be fantastic in getting this race underway. Dig deep, folks. We can all write down times off stopwatch. Come on. Everyone wants to see this race. Let's go. 2 more lap scorers. Oh, look like we got 1. 1. We got a starter. Where's 2? 2. Oh, 2. Look at this from the crowd. Outstanding. Community spirit. We're about to start the race, folks. With a field of 23 starters here tonight, folks, we'll talk you through them. Cody Shanahan of Western Athletics, Jack Holden of St Kevin's, Callan Goldsmith of Mornington Peninsula, Matthew Tong of Western Athletics, interstate visitor Samuel Clifford of Tasmania, a World Junior Cross Country representative, Archie Reid of South Bendigo, Ben Kelly of Glen Huntly, Alexander Ritchie of Box Hill, Mitch Thompson of Deakin, Joshua Maisie of Doncaster, Sean Guinea of St Stephen's, Ben Moynihan of St Kevin's, Zach Patterson of Knox Athletics, Julian Oakley of St Kevin's, Nick Baggett from Box Hill, a 3-time Olympian in Jeff Risley from Knox Athletics Club, Toby O'Brien of St Stephen's, Frankie Conway, Melbourne University, James Hanson, Knox Athletics Club, Inside Running Podcast's Brady Threlfall from the Bendigo Harriers, Liam Cashin of Western Athletics, Anthony Aloisio of Richmond Harriers, and rounding out the field, Edward Marks of Glen Huntly. As we go through the first lap here, folks, in about 68 seconds, Shanahan was second at the most recent Milers Club in the 3K to a man in the stands here, Sam McEntee. McEntee not making the 12.5 lap journey this evening, saving up his Adapec apparently, as Shanahan leads through in 68. Messini and myself will work on the mathematics, but we understand that is 14.10 pace. Numbers to watch here. We don't actually have a selection policy yet, but the 14.15 is usually the World Under-20 qualifier, and I think Edward Marks will be keeping a close eye on that in the Glen Huntly kit. Hanson up the front there has come back off a bit of a European season. We'll see what sort of shape he's in. Patterson, a former World Junior representative. Making the journey a few laps longer. He's usually preferred 8 and 15 double, but we'll watch with great interest there to see where his fitness is on the road to Tokyo.
But would you
As we roll down here to 1K, we'll look for about 250 to 252. Shanahan with a look over the shoulder. If we want a time tonight, we might need a bit of work here from the group, but as I say that, Shanahan pulls wide. We may have an aforementioned arrangement. However, still a Victorian Championship up for grabs.
as a Tasmanian gets into the front. So Cody Shanahan still leading Victorian in this race. James Hansen closely follows, and Cody's teammate in Liam Cashin into fourth position. Been comfortable 2 and 4 as they were for much of the race last Thursday night at the 3K Miles Club as they come in at 1,200 metres. 3 laps into this 12.5 lap journey.
Marks keeping close watch there, followed by Risley and Goldsmith and the youngster Archie Reed. Reed, one that's raced all across the world, has run in Valencia, the United Arab Emirates, bit of a man of many races.
It's a fun fact, Whip.
Got 12.5 laps, may as well. We continue to lead here from our Tasmania visitor, Sam Clifford. Personal best of 14.49. Oh, scratch that. It's Julian Oakley. The green's thrown us there. Shambolic from us. We do apologise to our international visitor, Mr. Oakley of New Zealand. Lack of St Kevin's singlet probably threw us there, but we'll let St Kevin's go there. Shanahan remains second, with Hansen keeping a close watch in third, followed by Cashin, Marks and Risley.
In previous races, we saw some races within races, but all we're seeing tonight is a thick train of athletes. The whole 23 of them, one by one, spread out across the track, and hardly any gaps from heel to heel.
Winner of the B race in the 3,000 metres at Milers the other week at Duncan McKinnon. Mitch Thompson out the back there. Watch for him late. A 1:49 man over 800 metres. Oakley continues to lead. We'll look to see if we have any signs of life from the pack. They do seem comfortable to let the Kiwi lead.
Mitch Thompson's moustache for Movember, surely worth a few seconds, Whip.
Yeah, he's given himself a running head start there into Movember, the big handlebar, but Thompson just taking his time at the back there. This is a bit further than he's used to, so the training wheels remain on as we come toward 2,000 metres. We will be looking for Michael.
About a time of 5:40 would get them the 14:10 time that a lot of them put down around as their fastest seed time. It'll be quite a good race for a bulk of the field.
And Jeff Risley might be after that 14:10 time because he's gone to the front, followed closely by training partner Hansen and Patterson. Oh, don't you love this, Michael? Some team tactics.
The old training mates. On Thursday night, we saw Cashin and Shanahan going quite towards the front of the pack. Now we see the Knox athletes making it look like a training run for the three of them, where they're most comfortable. 1, 2, 3 on each other's heels. Again, about the rest of the pack, just looking straight ahead.
Risley, a Knox man through and through, hails from Harkaway, followed by Hansen. Patterson looking fantastic. Mark starts to move up. He wants to be right on that pace. Ed Marks, our under 20 to watch here, sitting right on the men that have trod his path before. Patterson, Hansen, and Risley. Hansen looking to help out here, moves to the front.
We see Shanahan from Western Athletics moving on to Mark's shoulder, not too happy to sink too far deep into the pack. Hansen had some great progression in all his races on the track last season. Looking forward to see what he'll do in the later stages of this race, become quite a strong runner, Sean.
Yeah, look, we've got quality across the field here. Hansen has opted for flats, saving the carbs. Shanahan, a former winner of the Zatopek under 23,000 metre race. So top to bottom here, there are plenty of gentlemen in this race that could stake their claim for the win towards the latter stages. As we come up to 3,000 metres, I'll pass over to our resident mathematician, Michael Massini. What are we going to be looking for here, Michael?
Thanks, Whip. For a time of about 14:10, we're looking for 250 per kilometre, so that's around about the 8:30 mark for that 14:10 pace, which they might be a bit shy of.
I think we'll be a smidge off at the moment, but we see Patterson roll to the front. Still got a really, really thick bunch there. Through an 8:35, so by no means off 4:10, but starting to slip just a touch.
That as well. So to increase the pace over the last 5 laps shouldn't be a problem for a big bunch of them.
Yeah, in recent years we've seen Risley run the likes of 144 and 332. So a man that when the pace gets going, he does have some wheels. We'll just have to wait and see what the 12.5 laps does to him.
Two younger athletes in Ed Marks of Glen Huntley and Sam Clifford from Tasmania, looking pretty comfortable in 5th and 6th position, as do club mates at the front of the field in Cody Shanahan, Liam Cashin from Western Athletics, and our leaders in Jeff Risley and James Hansen. Apologies, that was Zach Patterson and James Hansen at the front of the field as we see the boys go through. Go through 4 kilometres in just under that 14:10 pace. So the pace has increased a little bit as the rest of the field has strung out.
Risley's left us here, possibly helping out a few mates in the group there. Hansen looking strong at the front, has range everywhere from 800 to 10k. Will be dangerous. We've got Hansen, Patterson, Oakley, Shanahan, Cashin. A small gap starting to grow to Marks. Clifford, Aloisio, Maisie, Moynihan and Threlful. So 3 Kiwis in the top 3. Maisie, Moynihan and Oakley for anyone playing at home.
Anyone filling out your quiz book. As there is a bit of a gap in the first 4, so Hansen, Patterson, Oakley and Shanahan have gapped Liam Cashin as they move into the last 600 metres of this 5,000 metre Victorian Championship.
As we come toward 800 metres to go here, 2 laps remaining. We've got 1,500 metre specialists and 5k men in that bunch there. Watch for Oakley. Oakley, the top seed in the field, a sub-14-minute athlete. Hansen getting a gap now. Hansen looking to stake his claim on that Victorian title. Doesn't look like we've got a response from the second pack there. Hansen really starting to put the ground into them now as Patterson starts to lengthen his stride slightly. We've got Oakley just behind Patterson, and Shanahan is the 4th one with the gap. As Michael said before, with 600 to go with James Hansen just on about 12:27. He is absolutely rolling.
Could be looking for a couple of times in the low 14s for our leading runners, particularly Hansen coming in with 1 lap to go.
Keep your watches on this, folks. James Hansen has been known to open up a big last lap as Oakley moves around Patterson. Shanahan holds 4th and Clifford in 5th.
followed by Maisie, Cashin, Molihan and Trethal. Aloisio and Marks coming through, all with 1 lap to go or less.
As we move back down the field, Conway of Melbourne Uni, followed by Ben Kelly and Nick Baggett of Box Hill, Goldsmith, Holden, Reed, and Guinea, a man who wears his heart on his sleeve for St Stephen's. He'll close well.
So we turn our attention back to this front straight. Hansen with about 120 metres to go. Oakley, the New Zealander, not too far behind, and Hansen's clubmate in Patterson in 3rd position, 2nd in the Victorian Championships. As Hansen, 50 metres to go. Look at the clock, ladies and gentlemen.
Hansen all day here, folks. 13.58, easy as you like. Oakley in 2nd, just on 14 minutes. Patterson, brilliant to see him back on track. 14.04, 06 there for Shannon. Clifford, the excitement there as an under 20. We don't have a selection policy yet, but 14, sub 14.10 usually get on the junior team. So, and possibly a club or state record by his yelling.
Record is very good.
Yeah, he's very happy.
And why wouldn't you be, Whip? It's a very quick time, mate. As I see Ed Marks cross the finish line, Ben Kelly, Nick Baggett, Frankie Conway, Callan Goldsmith of Mornington, Jack Holden of St Kevin's, Archie Reid of South Bendigo, Sean Guinea of St Stephen's, Toby O'Brien also of St Stephen's.
Look, I've got it from the source from Sam Clifford. This is usually a big call on live stream, but apparently 14.14 was the former Australian under-18 record by Ryan Gregson. We won't call it too early. We'll wait for photo finish, but I think Sam Clifford might have just dipped under there. Not only is he an under 20, he's an under 18.
I would have reacted the same way if I thought I just broke the under 18 Australian record as well.
Could have snagged himself a national record and the qualifier for the World Under 20 Championships to be held next year in the spiritual home of distance running, Nairobi. It's in Kenya, if anyone was wondering.
Top 3 in the men's Victorian Championships. James Hansen in gold medal. Silver medal went to Zach Patterson, and bronze medal, Cody Shanahan. So next up on the track will be the Women's B 5,000 metres, race 5 of 7 tonight here at the Victorian 5,000 metre Championships at Box Hill Athletics Track. So about to start the women's B race, 5,000 metres. Leave it to the starters. And athletes in the field. Number 1, Eliza Lepere from Ballarat. 2, Sarah Tucker, Ballarat. 3, Alice Stiles, Geelong Guild. 4, Sophie McMinimie, Western Athletics. 5, Katie Ward, Collingwood. 6, Jasmine O'Reilly from Athletics Chilwell. 7, Chelsea Saw of Melbourne Uni. 8, Lu Zin Zhang from Melbourne Uni. 9, Maxine Plug from Doncaster. 10, Simone McInnes, St Stevens. 11, Stacey Bolger, Glenn Huntley. 12, Joanne Pratt, Casey Cardinia. 13, Eloise Thompson, Athletics Nunawading. 14, Mira Tabet from Coburg. 15, Jessica Campbell, Diamond Valley. 16, Sarah Watts of Ballarat. 17, Olivia Richardson of Geelong Guild. 18, Kate McClure of Melbourne University. 19, Georgia Pounding of Old Zavarians. 20, Grace Muir of Yarra Rangers. 21, Brianna Bunworth of Western Athletics. 22, Catherine Foley of Box Hill. 23, Marianne Murray. 5,000 metres. Leading them around, Chelsea Saw of Melbourne Uni, followed by Sarah Tucker of Ballarat and Rebecca Barry of Frankston. They'll be your first 3 through the 600 metres.
Another Y.
We'll grab the crowd's attention here briefly. We've had confirmation from upstairs. Pending ratification, Sam Clifford of Tasmania has broken the under-18 national record of Ryan Gregson with a run of 14:07.92. So a 12-year-old record out the door. What a run.
So coming through the kilometre in 3 minutes, 28 seconds, still our leader, Chelsea Saw of Melbourne University, followed by Sarah Tucker, Ballarat, and Rebecca Barry, still 1, 2, 3 in this race. Sophie McMinimie moved away into 4th position. The Western Athletics. So through the K in about 3 minute 30 pace, which would lend itself to a 17:30 finishing time, which would be quite unbelievable for a bunch of the runners in that front pack. So we might see the pace just ease a little bit as the race progresses, but we'll see if they string out.
Just putting a bit of room into it early, Messini. Just front-loading the pace. Going out in an earnest canter. I like it.
Banking seconds, we call it. So Chelsea Saw has extended a lead into 1,400 metres into this race. Simone McInnes from St Stephen's moves her way into second position, and Sophie McMinimy of Western Athletics sliding away into third. So still 1, 2, 3, going through 1,800 metres. Chelsea Saw, Melbourne Uni, Simone McInnes, St Stephen's, Sophie McMinimy of Western Athletics. Eliza Lapere of Ballarat moves her way into fourth position, and Rebecca Barrett Frank's still in the mix towards the top end of the field. Through 2 kilometres, first 5 laps in about 7:11, 7:12. Slowing the pace just slightly from their first kilometre. On track now for around 18 minutes for the 5K journey. As the front of the field slowly starts to catch the back end of the field here. There's quite a spread of seed times in this women's B 5,000 metre race. Stacey Bolger of Glen Huntly moves into fourth position here. A name that's sort of moved up in the field has been sitting in the pack up until now in this race.
Races within races again here, Michael. We've got the front pack doing a fair bit of splintering up currently, but a bit more of a solid chase pack, but hard to define that chase pack up front just at the moment.
Brianna Bunworth leading the next few as they cross the finish line with Jessica Campbell from Diamond Valley. So nearing the halfway mark of this women's 5,000 metre B race, Chelsea Saw still in the lead. Simone McInnes closely following in around a bit over 9 minutes for the 2.5 kilometres. So heading for about 18:10 5K at this point. Amira Tabet from Coburg moving away into fifth position. Olivia Richardson of Geelong Guild also running a strong race there in 5th. Has been in that front pack the whole way. Now, as they start to spread out, these athletes are starting to be revealed.
Public service announcement to anyone that drives what appears to be a Toyota Corolla. Silver one parked just near the gate. Your lights are on. Your car battery will not appreciate that. Also, if we could get the medalists from the men's and women's Victorian championships to pop back over to the start line, we'll look to do the medal presentations after this race.
So through the 3K mark, 7.5 laps done and 5 to go in just under 11 minutes for that first pack of 6 runners in this women's B race. So about an 18-20 pace these girls are on at the moment. The pace has slowed slightly as the race has progressed, so if they can hold on to this current form, they will be heading for around the mid 18 minutes for their 5K run, which would be a great run for many of these athletes in the front pack. As it looks like Sophie McMinimy of Western Athletics has taken charge with 4.5 laps to go, just gapping the next 5 athletes.
The Stracoli squad out of Western Athletics. McMinamy, a strong cross-country runner classically, will look to pull away here. Four laps to go and McMinamy leads with a gap of about 10 metres.
McMinimy's PB 18.19 and she is pretty much on pace to get that tonight with a few solid last laps.
Chase group of 5, about 20 metres now. That gap has grown even in the last 100, so McMinamy on a mission.
Within that pack we have Sophie McInnes of St Stephen's. We have Amira Tabit of Coburg, Olivia Richardson, Geelong Guild, one of their early leaders in Chelsea Saw of Melbourne University. And leading a lot of them in that chase pack is Stacey Bolger of Glen Huntly Athletics.
McMinamy with 3 to go, maintaining that lead. The chase pack of 5, I'll call it. It's 6. Working on that. Mike Messini, my co-commentator here, as he says, no affinity for traditional mathematics, but running, he's your man. Looking for 14.40 here with a kilometre to go for Sophie McMinamy, and she'll be on PB pace as she crosses in 14.35. Races within races, folks. Stories within the lower heats. McMinamy on the path for a PB.
So Sophie McMinimy, our current leader, 2 laps to go in the women's 5,000 metre B race as the flood of athletes come in behind her. Olivia Richardson taking charge of that second pack, leading out Stacey Bolger of Glen Huntly. Sophie McInnes, St Stephen's follows her. Amira Tabbett of Coburg, and still holding strong, Chelsea Saw of Melbourne Uni, our early leader.
McMinamy comes up to the bell. Will look to go well under her personal best. Entered with 18:19.60, and she's on to obliterate that currently.
She has about 35 seconds to complete this. 1 minute 35 seconds to complete this last lap, and I think she will. Olivia Richardson of Geelong Guild and Stacey Bolger of Glen Huntly follow, as does Sophie. Jeez.
Simone McInnes. We'll get there.
Chelsea Saw of Melbourne University and Amira Tabbett of Coburg. Starting to string out now, the tightly knit pack, as they have been all race. On the back straight, Sophie McMinimy in PB town, heading for a big one tonight. 200 metres to go.
PB Town, population 1. McMinamy storming around the track. Always good when you know you're on for a quick time. Stu McCauley in the stands here looking on. Good coaching. Solid group out at Western Athletics.
Olivia Richardson and Stacey Bolger as well. PBs of 18:30 or seed times, should I say. And they will be looking to go under that as well.
Hands together, folks. Sophie McMinamy has led for a bulk of the race here and will smash her PB.
PB by over 10 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, as we see Stacey Bolger of Glen Huntly charge towards the finish line, also clocking a big PB of over 10 seconds, as does Olivia Richardson of Geelong Guild. 1, 2, 3 in the women's B race. Simone McInnes, Amira Tabbett, Chelsea Saw, and Sarah Tucker all coming in for solid times, around 18.5 minutes for 5K. Eliza Lapere of Ballarat. Catherine Foley of Box Hill just crossing the line now. Gabriella Sprignall of Melbourne University. Jessica Campbell, Diamond Valley. Brianna Bunworth of Western Athletics, just under 19 minutes.
Rebecca Barry of Franks Athletics Club finishing off there.
Grace Mueller of Yarra Rangers. Sarah Watts, Ballarat, crossing the line now in 19.5. Smashed her seed time there by about 50 seconds. Sarah Watts of Ballarat, well done. Alice Stiles, Geelong Guild. The young Jasmine O'Reilly of Chilwell. Also a minute under her seed time. Joanne Pratt of Casey Cardinia crossing the line now, as does Katie Ward of Collingwood. Both under their seed times. Marianne Murray of Diamond Valley. Georgina Pounding of Old Zavarians. Huge race.
If we could get our Victorian State Championship medalists from the previous men's and women's races to pop over to the 400-metre start line.
So Eloise Thompson coming through, finishing there, and Maxine Plug of Doncaster.
If I could get James Hanson, Julian Oakley and Zach Patterson, if you're still here, pop over to the start line. Similarly, if I could grab Whitney Sharp, Katie Gamble and Kai Fry, you are all medalists. Please come and collect your medal. McKenna Myler as well, you have an invitational bronze to collect, so please report to the start line.
Xin Lu Zhang of Melbourne University crosses the line now in a bit over 22 minutes. And entering the straight for the last time, Kate McClure of Melbourne University.
I could get the men's medalists from the Victorian Championship race to pop over to the dais here at the start-finish line as well, that'd be great. We'll start here with Kaya Fry in our Victorian Championship 5,000 metre race in a time of 16:46.16. Put your hands together, folks. Making the long trip over from the United States and with a personal best of 16:21.72, McKenna Myler. In second place from Frankston Athletics Club, Katie Gamble in 16:14.77. And in a time of 16:07.24 from St Stephen's Harriers, Whitney Sharp, your Victorian champion. Photographers, jump in, now's your chance. Whilst we fix the lights. If I could get James Hanson of Knox Athletics Club and Zach Patterson, also of Knox Athletics Club, if you could cut your warm down, come on, need your medals. Warm down will wait. Pause your watch.
And we're going to put the men's medal presentations on hold while we get the men's D race, 5,000 metres underway. So I'll be in the starters' hands shortly for the men's D race. Race 6 of 7 this evening at Box Hill. And underway, men's D race. Athletes are as follows: Max Taylor and Essendon, Long Nguyen, Glenn Huntley, Javier Tabet, Coburg, Paul Pretense, Box Hill, Adam Hanna, Melbourne Uni, Christian Wheats, Western Athletics, Stephen Simmons, Collingwood, Ashton McDonald, Knox, Alistair McDonald, Western Athletics, Chris Winter, Glenn Huntley, Ross Thomas, Box Hill, Andy Fuller, Richmond, Eric Pritchard, Coburg, Andrew Carey of Williamstown, Jonathan Brown of Essendon, Michael Holst of Waverley, Matthew Lynch of St Kevin's, Archie Hewitt of Mornington, Elias Stott of Geelong Guild, Tom Werner of Richmond, Alistair O'Brien of Knox, Lachlan Welch of Williamstown, Tom Jansen of Frankston, and Michael Oakey of Collingwood. To round out the field of 24 in our men's D race here at Box Hill, as the track does start to darken over in the back straight. But we'll do our best to call the action here trackside.
Top seed here, Michael, appears to be Thomas Ross of Box Hill Athletics Club. Closely followed by Chris Winter of Glen Huntley, and then a real sway, the gents like Max Taylor, Long Nguyen, a couple of guys around that 1630, 1640 mark. As a former classmate, I'd have to back in Long Nguyen. He's been making progress lately. Come on, Long. Get up for me. You can do it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ross Thomas, though, highest seed, and he's on the home track. Is that a home ground advantage that he has?
You got there eventually, Michael, and with the lights coming back on here, we will return to premium racing.
Everything always feels so much quicker under lights. Light winds, pretty good conditions to run PBs here, as we've seen so many athletes do tonight at the Vic 5K Championships whip.
Fun fact, Messini, you feel like you're going faster because your depth perception is worse in low light.
That is fun. I never considered that before.
Yeah, so you think you're going quicker. Good illusion for those men taking part in tonight's 5,000 metre D race.
Javier Tabet of Coburg and Chris Winter of Glen Huntley lead the way through that first kilometre in about 3:17.
So we'd be just under 1640 pace. I would encourage everyone in the race. We do have timers on this race. You don't need to stop your watch. So we return to the racing at the front. Unchanged lead. Javier Tabet keeps things rolling along with a bit of a Glen Huntley and Frankston partnership on the back straight there.
The athlete from Frankston in third position there.
We've already got a little bit of splintering here as we pass through our first few laps. We've got a couple off the back who'll probably start to work together, and a big pack rolling through here at the front. A reminder to Zach Patterson, I did see you floating around doing your warm down. Please don't go too far and come and collect your medal.
Long Nguyen has moved his way up on the shoulder of Javier Tabet as well, past his Glen Huntley teammate.
Representing Glen Huntley these days, Long, bit of a late comer to the sport. Has recently embraced wearing shoes whilst racing, a Melbourne High old boy. Good to see him out there fully shod.
And the front few athletes in this train, first 5 or 6, just start to form their own pack. As we have another race within a race, Sean. That's what we have been seeing all night, a race within a race.
Theme throughout the night, one for the punters here. We'll see how we're going at 2 kilometres and try and give you a pace schedule update. Tabbit from Coburg has kept the pace honest here. As Chris Winter rolls round to the shoulder there, looks like it'll be Tabbit and Winter just towing things along.
Christian Wheats just on the back of that front pack, which is starting to split now. The athlete from Western Afs, Alistair MacDonald, the 40-plus athlete, also from Western Afs. Believe he collected a club record the other night for the 40-plus category in the 3K. Will he do the same tonight in the 5K in his first season as a Masters athlete? Did cruise through that first 2K at around that 16:40 5K pace. Tabbit, Long and Jansen, still your top 3. I believe Elias Scott of Geelong Guild is also in the mix in the top few of this men's D race.
Once again, if I could get James Hansen and Zach Patterson to come over to the start line. I think Julian Oakley really wants to go home. So come on, fellas.
We know you've got lots of medals. We want to give you one more.
Yeah, you can warm down for as long as you like after. We've got lights and everything. Plenty of heats to go.
Max Taylor of Athletics Essendon. I hesitate because that could have also been Jonathan Brown. We'll see as they round the bend. We'll look at the hip number and we'll confirm that. But we believe Max Taylor of Athletics Essendon is in that top few in this race as well. As those 2 packs do start to spread pretty wide now across the track. And yes, Max Taylor moves his way into 3rd position of Geelong Guild. Elias Scott. Matthew Lynch of St Kevin's is right there as well. Christian Wheats and Ashton McDonald of Knox are all in that front pack. Alistair McDonald is the bookend of the front of 10 odd athletes there.
Real last call saloon here for Zach Patterson and James Hansen. If you're still at the track, please make yourself known, or I think Mr. Oakley is off for dumplings.
As the boys approach the 3 kilometre mark, 5 laps to go in 9 minutes and 50 seconds. We have Long, Jansen, Taylor, and Stott all in that top 4. He's also joined by Ashton McDonald of Knox. Pace for around a 16:30 at this point. which would be a great run for many of these athletes who are seated above that time. Four laps to go for the boys coming into the front straight now. Long has led for a big chunk of this race. As we see Tom Jansen move his way into the lead, Max Taylor does follow him eagerly. Ashton McDonald sliding his way into fourth position. And Alistair McDonald moving his way to the front of this race in fifth, the 40-plus athlete looking to collect another club record. And now we're seeing them really start to spread across this back straight. They're all within 50 metres. Not long ago now, they're spread over 100.
We'll break for a brief intermission here, folks, with the presentation of the Victorian 5000m Men's Championship. Michael Massini will keep you updated on the race in progress.
So Jansen with 3 laps to go, closely followed by Max Taylor of Essendon, Ashton McDonald of Knox, Long Newen, Glenn Hunley and Alistair MacDonald. Chris Winter and Ross Thompson also in the mix there. Elias Stott of Geelong Guild close behind as we see the flood of athletes coming in with 3 laps to go in this men's D race. Over to you, Sean Whip.
We break briefly from our men's race for the presentation of the Victorian Championship. In third place from Knox Athletics Club in 14 minutes and 4.81 seconds, Zach Patterson. Come on, let's get behind him, folks. You can do it. In second place, a debut run for St Kevin's Athletics Club, 14:00.91, Julian Oakley. And your Victorian champion for 2019 in a time of 13:58.85 from Knox Athletics Club. Put your hands together for James Hansen. Michael, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Whip. And with 2 laps to go in this men's D race, we still see Tom Jansen leading, but Max Taylor is eagerly on his heels. A bunch of athletes with 2 laps to go coming through now, and will be looking good to break 16:40 to 16:34 this 5K journey, depending on the last 2 laps. As we look to the 200-metre mark around the discus cage on the back straight, Max Taylor does surge ahead of Tom Jansen of Frankston. And I believe that is Ashton McDonald of Knox trying to bridge that gap and creep his way up to Jansen of Frankston as well. So 1, 2, 3 is pretty much sorted as we come into 1 lap to go for these boys in the men's D race. And with 1 lap to go, we will be looking at a time of around the 16:20 mark, 16:15 even, given how quick this last lap may be. Ashton McDonald surges his way into second position. Will he take the gold medal in this D race off Max Taylor of Essendon? 300 metres to go. Tom Jansen hanging on for a strong finish there, and probably still a pretty good time. Coming through with 1 lap to go now, Chris Winter of Glen Huntley, Ross Thomas Adam Hanna of Melbourne University. Haven't mentioned him much in this race so far, but he is sitting in 6th position right now. 300 metres to go. Looking back to the front of the field, they are rounding the bend in the final front, and it is Ashton McDonald. He's sat back for most of the race, and he is entering the front straight now.
Call it home for us, Michael. Here we go. 100 metres to go, folks.
Max Taylor is also there with a bit of a gap behind, and Tom Jansen hopefully holding on for a good time, but it's Ashton McDonald of Knox Athletics just dodging the cones there. 20 metres to go, and he's very, very strong time, 16:07-ish.
About 40 seconds under his personal best there.
Max Taylor coming in around the 16:14 mark, also 15 seconds clear of his PB. And Tom Jansen for around a 16:24 unofficial, beating his time by about 16 seconds. Ross Thomas, the hometown hero of Box Hill. Matthew Lynch of St Kevin's. Chris Winter of Glen Huntly. Long Newen of Glen Huntly also. And Adam Hanna of Melbourne University. And now there's too many to keep track of as they flood in.
I've just been engulfed by
Great
athletes.
runs from
Look at
all.
this. All over the shop here, folks. One of our Collingwood youngsters there, Michael O'Kay, flying in. Just under his PB as well. Love to see it. As we look to get our next race underway, we have had an iPhone handed in at the finish line. If you have the passcode to unlock it, well, it's probably yours. So if you've lost an iPhone,
Try your luck.
I don't want to have to sell it on Gumtree. I'd never do such a thing, but come collect it. No, really, it'll go to the AV Lost property. So if it's yours, let us know or email. iPhones and $50 notes at the finish line if anyone wants one. So fight around and collect your goods. With 30 names in this, we'll go half and half. Hats off to the young man from Essendon who's taken off here to lead proceedings.
Hi, Davis, but we'll get to his name.
We'll get there. From the top, in our E-race tonight, Shane Holt of Box Hill, Greg Steele, Melbourne University, Michael Bishop of Mornington Peninsula, Daniel Clark of South Melbourne, David Lawson of Richmond Harriers, Will Pratt, Mornington Peninsula, Jai Farrar, Mornington Peninsula, Charlie McSwain, Sandringham Athletics Club, Daniel Sire, Melbourne Uni, Richard Dorr, Mornington Peninsula, Daniel Bunworth, Western Athletics, Justin Curran, Old Zaverians, John Curry of Doncaster Athletic Club, Damien Cusack of Diamond Valley, Matthew Thompson, also of Diamond Valley, and Michael, next 15 are yours.
Thank you very much, Sean. And we have Andrew Stevens of Melbourne University, Rob Grummett of Mentone, Charles Sutherland of Glen Huntly, Daniel Rees of Williamstown, Paul Viney of Collingwood, Jonathan Little from Richmond. Also from Richmond is Brad Wood, Dustin Bianaki of Melbourne University, Abdi Haji Ali of Western Athletics, Gary Murphy of Victorian Masters Athletics Club, Bruce Thomas of Mentone, Joshua Simons of Collingwood, Ty Davies, who has just come through the 600 metre mark of Essendon, Ross Pentland of South Melbourne, and Peter Gaffney from Keilor St Bernard's to round out the field of 30 athletes in our last of 7 races at the Victorian 5-kilometre Championship. Sean Whipp.
Davies has absolutely taken off here, but in the lead from Western Athletics, we've got the young Abdulaziz Haji Ali. And with a personal best of 18 minutes, he's well ahead of pace. But you've got to compliment the candour and the valour that this young man is approaching his 12.5 lap journey with, Michael.
Yeah, you never know where that 18-minute time has come from as well with these younger athletes.
Possibly
sometimes,
an estimate.
Well, yeah, it could be an estimate. It could be a one-off race. It's hard to master that 5K race. So with
2:35 through 800 metres.
Quite quick.
We've just had Abdi's coach, the legend of the sport, Peter Burke, pop over and mention it's the young man's first time over the 12.5 lap distance. So probably look for 5 laps at this pace. But look, got to give it to him. He's having a crack here. Abdi not mucking around here, has put a gap in early. Davies looking strong.
So if I do my running maths again, we're on about 16 minutes and 15-second pace for the 2 leaders here, which is well ahead of their seeded time. So we'll see how the boys go into the race as we see Jonathan Little of Richmond coming through in about 3 minutes 30. Ross Pentland of South Melbourne just got a massive cheer from the crowd here at Box Hill.
Big crowd, big crowd.
If you're watching at home, I'm surprised you're not hearing cheers in the background.
Abdi has continued on this pace, not phased by the sage warnings of Peter Burke. He's pushing into the great unknown, and look, this is what we love to see in the lower heats. It's people learning the distance and just taking that leap into the possible abyss.
Probably a few park runners out here as well, and the 12.5 laps around a 400 metre track. I don't know. I'd rather be on a nice parkrun course personally, but a bit of a mental battle, I think.
Oh, look, we're open for all formats of racing here at Athletics Victoria, but for the purists here, we do love the good old-fashioned 400-metre tartan track. And it is our lone two warriors out the front continuing here. The exuberance of youth has not been dampened by the current set of laps. Definitely a chase group of, look, I'll call it 5, and it is 5.
Charlie McSwain of Sandringham amongst them, spelt differently to the Stewie McSwain we all know.
Obviously following in his hero's footsteps, though.
By being named the same as him.
Not sure if that was a pre-planned occurrence, Michael, but look, we love similarities here when we're trying to pick up on a thing or two in these lower heats. Fascinating to see the number of paired up entries from clubs here. Plenty of Mornington Peninsula, Collingwood, Mentone, Diamond Valley, Western Athletics. It's all happening.
You reckon there's a bit of if you do it, I'll do it type thing going on?
Oh, a lot of first-time 5K attemptees, I suspect, on the track. Good to see a real mix of athletes out here.
And hats off to them. It's not an easy distance. 12 and a half laps, lap after lap, trying to keep it consistent. And if you're lucky, a strong finish.
I'm still in possession of one iPhone, additionally to my own. So if you've lost one, feel free to pop over to the finish line and try your luck on the passcode. If not, it will be at the Athletics Victoria office, where you can call 8646 4500 and see if you can come in and pick it up.
So Jonathan Little of Richmond, Charlie McSwain, Daniel Clark of South Melbourne, all in that next pack there. Our athletes from Mornington and a teammate from Richmond also in the mix. David Lawson, I believe, from Richmond, bookending that front pack. So 6 minutes and 40 seconds for Abdi from Western Apps right at the front. Also Ty Davies of Essendon. So 16:40 would lend itself to a, 6:40 2K would lend itself to a 16:40 5,000 metre time. So the pace hasn't slowed too much in this second K actually. It is a tough gig running by yourself right at the front of the field. We'll see what this second pack can do, bouncing off each other as laps progress. So Abdi from Western Apps, 2.2 kilometres completed. Ty Davies of Essendon closely following. That gap of about 10 metres has stayed the same for much of the race so far.
And at this point, Abdi has exceeded Berkey's expectations. He's passed the 5-lap barrier. We're into uncharted territory here. So who knows? Berkey could be onto yet another winner in his big stall of middle distance superstars.
Usually Berkey's spot on. I'm surprised by that call, actually.
Good to see a substantial number of Western Athletics members, including Michael, have stuck around to watch the young fella. So hats off to him. Bit of club spirit.
Is John Carr, we haven't mentioned yet, from Mornington Peninsula, is in that front pack of athletes, or should we say the second pack, the peloton, should we say, as opposed to the breakaway of Abdi and Ty out the front.
I would encourage any of the lads that are splitting their watch on every single lap
to not.
Probably not. You can always go back through the live stream that'll be available on the Athletics Victoria Facebook page and check your splits if you'd like. But I can understand the personal touch there, possibly for Strava. Got to get the kudos.
So Abdi and Ty just went through the halfway mark in about 8.5 minutes. So about 17-minute 5K pace there for the boys.
The Berkey chartered slip has begun very slightly, but you got to give it to him. Davies going for an aggressive move around the outside here. We've got a bit of a double pass there with lap runners, but Abdi's not done yet. He's regained the lead and is striding down the back straight with great enthusiasm.
David Lawson of Richmond does lead the peloton. Charlie McSwain is right there as well, as is Jonathan Little, his teammate of Richmond. Daniel Clark, South Melbourne, in the pack also. We haven't mentioned the hometown runner of Shane Holt, the athlete from Box Hill, is in the mix in that peloton group as well. Ty Davies through the 3K mark in about 10:11, and Abdi from Western Avs just trailing 5 metres behind.
Now look, Abdi's dropped the head slightly, but look, it's come back up now. He'll be fine, I reckon. He's learning. This is it's a new event, but Mr. Davies out the front looks smooth as butter. I reckon he's done a park run or two in his time. He's got the lovely cadence ticking over there.
That's it. Suck in those deep breaths, Abdi. You can do it.
This will serve him well as he goes on in the more refined parts of his career.
So about 16:50 pace for young Ty Davies out the front. He quoted a time of 18:20 to enter this event. So if he carries on this trend, he'll score about 1.5 minutes PB or break his seated time by that much.
Maybe a generous guesstimate there, or a very hilly park run that he's taken that seed time from. So who knows? You get everything here, but we've got a real strung out file here of one of our packs.
Daniel Bunworth of Western Athletics is making his way through this back end of the field, ticking off, passing athlete by athlete, one by one.
Just putting in a shift there behind both of our Mentone Athletic Club competitors. I believe that may be Rob Grummett and I can't find the other one, Michael.
It'd be Bruce Thomas on our second page with the 26 number, hip number. As Ty Davies passes another lap. 4 to go for Ty Davies of Essendon, and 4 to go from Abdi of Western Avs as he gets cheers here from the club on the back straight.
He's gritting his teeth, bit of a grin. I think he's seeing the promised land now. 4 laps to go. The end is in sight.
Might be the Kipchoge grin though. Smiles when he's to keep relaxed. He knows what's going on. McSwain coming through in 3rd position here. 4 laps to go, should I say. Sorry, boys.
One to watch. We'll see if McSwain can bring that gap in. He has a continual look at his watch as he passes around onto the back straight under the bright lights of Haganau Reserve. Big thanks to Box Athletic Club for hosting this event so capably. Dustin Bernacki of Melbourne University just passing through the start-finish line there, leading a group of 5.
Three laps to go for Ty Davies of Essendon. His legs are ticking over quickly. He's kept the same stride pattern this whole race. Doesn't show any signs of slowing. Well done, Ty.
Our early leader, Abdi, comes through with... I'll wait for the lap scorer. 3 laps to go, I believe.
As Charlie McSwain has him in his sights. The young athlete from Sandringham crosses the line with 3 laps to go, as does David Lawson of Richmond, Jai Farah of Mornington, Daniel Clark of South Melbourne, and Shane Holt of Box Hill, all in that chase pack.
The hometown hero himself.
The peloton on the final stage of the Tour de Box Hill.
A big shout out to Daniel Rees of Williamstown as well. He's managed to coordinate his racing flat and sock colour. One thing that is tough to do from time to time, but real nod to the old school approach there.
Daniel Bumworth, Justin Curran of Old Zavarians. We also have Dustin Bianacki coming through with a few laps to go.
Rob Grummett and Thomas Bruce of Mentone there have worked tirelessly together as a pair. Good to see some club teamwork. And give it up for Ty Day. He's looking absolutely splendid last few laps here. Form has not broken throughout the entire race.
Resplendent, that's a new word.
Oh, you've got to roll through your adjectives in lower races. Abdi is not having it. He's gone the check over the shoulder and he's put the jets on. He's got 2 to go, not 1. Someone tell him.
First 5K race, and he's not done yet.
First
2
5K,
laps to go, Abdi.
And he's running his own fartlek. Look at him go. That's what you love to see, folks.
Charlie McSwain from Sandringham has had a very, very strong race. Holding that pace, making his way up the field.
McSwain with a turn. He'll Western Ats boys that are sticking around. This is kind of Abdi's style, just playing it as he sees it.
David Lawson from Richmond as well. Back running very strong as the other athletes in Box Hill.
Is to go up the home straight. We have Ty Davies of Athletics Essendon, who has been absolutely outstanding tonight. 1 lap to go, I believe. There's the bell, and with a personal best of 18:20, I think
See you later.
He's going to put a fair margin into that one. So put your hands together for the young fella when he rolls back round to the finish line.
Charlie McSwain also quoted a time of 19:28 as his PB as he rolls through with 1 lap to go.
And he's going to put that to the sword.
He's got about 3 minutes for this last lap.
Come on, Abdi. Look at him go.
David Lawson of Richmond Harriers, Shane Holt of Box Hill, Daniel Clark of South Melbourne all come through with 1 lap to go. Jai Farah of Mornington, Damon Cusack of Diamond Valley coming through as well. Where is it? So entering the front straight for the last time is our leader.
Ty Davies of Athletics Essendon. Form looking as fantastic as it did on lap 1. Let's clap him in, guys. What a run. Has absolutely smashed his personal best. He's put a good 70 seconds into it. Good on you, Ty. Great work, mate. And in what has been a back and forth battle for second the entire night, it looks like it's the young, aptly named McSwain from Sandringham that's going to crush his personal best.
By about 2 odd minutes, if you don't mind.
And Abdi on debut, outside the cones, mate, swinging a lane 3. He's gone lane 2. He said, I'll do it my way. Almost there.
Well done, Abdi. So,
and he's run through the seats as well.
From Western Apps.
He needs to lie down.
David Lawson of Richmond Harriers coming through for a PB as well, as does Shane Holt, Box Hill, Jai Farah from Mornington, Damon Cusack of Diamond Valley, Daniel Clark of South Melbourne, Daniel Sear from Melbourne Uni, the athlete from Williamstown in
the unofficial club captain comes down to congratulate Abdi on his brave run.
Justin.
Oh, that'll be close. I reckon he's taken about 5 seconds off his PB there.
Western Athletics there for just under 18.5 minutes.
Good 50 seconds of a personal best there. And
Paul
Viney, Collingwood, just on his PB there, very close.
Rob Grummett as well from Mentone knocks about 20 seconds off his seed time.
Mentone working together there. They've both absolutely...
The Masters athlete in Murphy knocks about 50 seconds off his seed time. from Glenn Huntley. Charles Sutherland as well. Strong run from Charles the Man in the headband. Richard Dorr from Mornington crossing the line. University
Giving it all he's got. And by the cheers in the crowd, possibly a personal best.
by about 40 seconds, Whip, if you don't mind.
As I live and breathe. Awesome to see the post-race recaps here on the sidelines.
Pete Gaffney of St Bernard's coming through in low 20 minutes.
Tonight, let's make sure we give him a bit of love as he comes into his final 200 metres. $200.
John Curry entering the home straight for the final time. 12 and a half laps. The man from Doncaster.
We'll cheer him over the line here. John Curry, Doncaster Athletics Club. Great work. And as things draw to a close there with our final athlete crossing the line, both myself and Michael would like to thank all our viewers for their company this evening. And with that, we will sign off from the Victorian 5000 metre Championships.